Hello and welcome to the commentary box for this special preview podcast / video about the upcoming FA Cup 4th round fixture between Swansea City and Gillingham. As you may know, me, Sam Turner, I'm a big Swansea supporter, and our other co-presenter on the show, Jake Griffiths, is a massive Gillingham supporter, so we thought this was the best opportunity just to talk about the game and basically talk about our clubs in preview of the game. So sit back, relax and enjoy. As you can see, we have the old theme tune for these kind of videos, so yeah, just enjoy the show. I'm Sam Turner, of course, and of course we're joined by Jake Griffiths. How are you, Jake?
I'm good. I'm very excited to be here for our preview. And before we get into it, we thought we'd just mention about obviously the Salah incident lately, where him and his pilot have gone missing over the English Channel. I think they were going from Cardiff back to France, where he was going to say goodbye to his teammates before signing for the Welsh club. But that plane went missing. Which is very, very sad to hear. Always sad when these sort of things within football and just in general happen. Potentially even worse if we don't know what happened. There's always a chance they could be out there, but we just like to say that the commentary box's thoughts are with Salah and the pilot and both their families at the moment.
Yeah, that's well said. And yeah, the commentary box's thoughts are with everyone involved in the incident, and all we can do is kind of hope at the moment. But yes. Anyways, on to the FA Cup fixture between Swansea and Gillingham. It's brilliant how this has happened, isn't it, Jake? It's just absolutely great, because it's not only between me and you, but your manager, Steve Lovell, obviously is Swansea born and has played for Swansea in his career, or when he was a footballer. And he was saying before the draw that he would love to get Swansea, and his dreams come true. And technically, our dreams come true, hasn't it?
It has. We're finally going to see who the better side is. We're throwing the league out the window. This is one-on-one, head-to-head. Going to see what happens. And like you said, Steve Lovell, Welshman, born and bred in Wales and Swansea, played for Swansea. Played for Gillingham for a long period of his career. The most time he spent was with Gillingham, striker, scoring a lot of goals for us. So he loves the club. He also loves Swansea, of course. He said in an interview the other day that he actually got his mum to go and watch Swansea's last game against Sheffield United to be a bit of a spy, shall we say, to have a look at how they're playing. And I think what her mum said to Steve was that they got some fast wingers, so we need to be wary of that.
Yes, you do indeed, because that is one of our strengths at the moment, surprisingly, with our ageing wingers, but they have seemed to find some pace, and I'll go into that a bit later. But yes, of course, you've had to play a few more games than us in the lead up to the this round. We've only had to play one, but you've had to play, is it 3 games so far?
Yeah, I think we've had 3, well, technically 4, because unfortunately, when we played our first game against Hartlepool, we played them at home, we drew 0-0, which wasn't ideal. It would have been nice just to get off to a win, get a game done and dusted, so to speak, in the first round. But a draw nonetheless, and then we played Hartlepool away. Went 2-0 down, which was not very good at all. Got a goal back just after half time. And the 96th minute, Sam, Tom Eaves hit home a penalty. And that could have been it. We could have been out. Our FA Cup story could have already been over. Went into added time. We then got a goal in the 102nd minute of the game, and then that was the half time of extra time. And then as soon as we started again, Elliot List scored another goal to then make it 4-2. It seemed like the game was almost over until O'Neill scores in the 114th minute. Made it 4-3, and then there was some trouble then, but Gillingham managed to survive and to win that game 4-3, which is a very interesting game away from home. First round replay, of course. We then played Slough away as well, another away game, 1-0. It was a bit more dominant in that game. It was a good strike from Darren Oldacre to get us through, and obviously the big one that sort of got us in the story in the papers, etc. lately, getting that big home win against Cardiff. Elliot List scoring his second FA Cup goal so far. what a goal it was to send us through. I was there. Amazing game. And obviously now in the fourth round or fifth game of FA Cup football, we have Swansea away.
So yeah, you've had quite the journey compared to us, and you've had to play some interesting teams like Slough, etc., Hartlepool, there's some non-league teams there. But we had a tough game, say, in our one game that we've had to play, and that was against Aston Villa. I mean, for as long as I remember, we've always had shocking FA Cup draws, and it's normally a Championship side away or a Premier League side away when we're in the Premier League. It's just been horrendous. Saying that, we did get to the quarters last season, but we played terribly in the quarters against Tottenham, and we lost, and we just one of the worst games I've ever witnessed for Swansea. But yeah, we beat Aston Villa 3-0 away, and this was the period that Aston Villa were kind of on the march. Really, they were just winning most of their games. They were really doing well. Tammy Abraham was scoring, but at that game we just managed to stop them. I think Courtney Baker-Richardson got on the score sheet, Dyer got on the score sheet, Fulton got on the score sheet. It was just a brilliant kind of game because we just scored goals that we don't normally score that many goals. So it was brilliant to see that. And I think one of the reasons that it was probably a bit easier to beat them was because Tammy Abraham was not allowed to play in the Cup, because I guess if he goes back to Chelsea, they want him to be able to play in the FA Cup. So in the contract somewhere, he's not allowed to. So that could have made it a bit easier, but still, it's a tough game for us. And I'm amazed that we made it through that round, to be honest. And to get Gillingham, it's great because League One side, it's better than having a Premier League or a Championship side, so it's a possibility that we may get through, but we'll talk about that in a bit later as well.
Just to sort of touch on that game again, I just found out now that it was actually away from home, which sort of obviously makes that a bit harder. And I'm looking at the Villa team as well. It's not a bad side they played at all. You can see around the 60th minute when it was about 2-0, they were down. That they decided to sub on some of their big boys because they got a little bit worried. But all fairness to Swansea, done well in terms of sort of league position. And we were talking about this a bit earlier. Sort of where do you think Swansea are prioritising the Cup right now? Because obviously you're sitting 9th in the league, incredibly between 8th and 15th, and 8th and 15th. There are 2 points between all of those places. So for Swansea, I want to sort of hear, obviously, from a fan perspective, what your priorities are, and then what do you think your manager's thinking in terms of what sort of side is he going to bring out?
Well, at the moment, we're going for a bit of an injury crisis. So a lot of our top players are currently out injured. So, for example, Roden is out injured at the moment. I think James is just coming back from an injury. We've got just injuries all over the pitch, which is not great for us. So with that kind of injury crisis and the heavy amount of games that, of course, that are played in the EFL, I am a bit reluctant about having an FA Cup run. Not that I don't want one, but it's just it might be an extra hassle on squad rotation. But if we just play youngsters, I'm fine with that. As for like my personal priority, I would like to see us get into the playoffs this season, and if we're fighting on 2 fronts, it might be hard. But of course, and this is no disrespect to Gillingham at all, I think seeing that we've got a lower division team than us, it's a chance for us to get maybe some more momentum and progress to the next round and then see where it goes from there. Because when you're in the FA Cup, you're in with a chance with anything really, and I like that about the Cup, and I like that it's something different to just take you away from the Championship every so often, and it's interesting and entertaining. So I personally want to stay in it, but I can see why being out of it would be good for the league situation as well.
Yeah, I feel with Gillingham, it's a little difficult because obviously for you to be out of the Cup would obviously make you have a little more focus on the league. And obviously at the moment you're in those positions right now where there's potential. There's a lot of potential for you to go far. I don't think relegation at all is even an option for you really. I think you'd be fine in terms of that. But I feel like you've got a lot of potential in the league. So I can see why potentially the manager could rest some players, obviously being at home, playing a lower league side. They've got there's opportunity and sort of reasoning, and you'd understand why. However, and obviously you were saying about the history of how cup runs have gone for you over recent years, you'd want to play maybe a stronger side to sort of see how far you can get, because you've got, again, a bit like the league, you've got potential in the cup. This is a chance for you to progress a bit further and see how well you can do. I feel with Gillingham, it's a little bit the same in terms. Well, for league position, we're down there. We're relegation battle, so to speak, and just above it. We've not really actually gone into it, but we're still in it. And after that win against Cardiff, we played so well against Burton Albion away. You got a great 3-2 win. And things are looking up. And then we just played Walsall at home and just lost 3-0. And that's just classic Gillingham all over. But those sort of weird and upset things happen. And, before the Cardiff game, we played horrendous in the league. So this Swansea game, anything can happen. I feel as if we will definitely going to play a very strong team. It'd be interesting to see the Swansea team on the day, to see how serious they'll be taking it. I guess this is a little bit how we talked with Kyle last week with Leicester. When it comes to the FA Cup, I know, do you feel as if the manager is fine to play a weakened side as long as he still believes it's out there to beat them? Do you see what I mean, Sam? In terms of, if you saw a very weakened side,
yeah,
would you be disappointed? Or are you thinking, no, this is a good chance to show what our youngsters can do. It's a good reason to do it in a cup game against a lower league team. Do you see justification in that?
Yeah, I do actually. I think with the selection pressures we have a small squad at the moment. Anyways, we're having to play youngsters on the bench mainly, but it's actually been a good thing for us playing youngsters so far this season. We've seen the kind of emergence of Oleg McBurney, obviously, who has been on loan a lot of times since he's been at the club. We've seen the emergence of Matt Grimes, ex-Exeter player, who's just emerged as a really good player. We've seen Daniel James, who I think only had one sub-appearance in the Premier League days, come in and look like he's been playing for the Swans for many, many years. And these are the type of players that have come through because he's been given a chance. And in the FA Cup, I really don't mind. I'm almost excited to see what the other young players have to do, because I don't know if you know, but our under-23 side, obviously, I think it got promoted to Premier League One a few seasons ago now. And then last season, they were in the top 4, I think, in terms of under-23 clubs. And I think we were only a few places and points off top. So we've obviously got some good players in there. And it's exciting to see if we can show some more talents off in the FA Cup. And, of course, he's going to have to anyways, because we don't really want to make some players unfit, because we've got another game on Thursday night against Birmingham. So I'm excited to see what the youngsters can have to do, and I think no manager sends their team out to lose a game. I think whatever the manager does, they just do it because that's the best they have available at that time, basically.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. I understand. I think it's a good point there. So I think in terms of squad, it could be interesting. I feel like Gillingham got a couple of injuries.
Yeah.
Nothing too major. I think one of our centre-backs and midfielders are out. One of them did play against Cardiff, to be fair. The other one didn't. But we've had some players returning from injury, so things are looking up. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully Tom Eaves can get a couple of goals under his belt, or just in general over the next couple of games, because he sort of died off a little bit. All this sort of transfer rumours, I think, sort of got to his head, and he's not quite doing as well on the pitch as he should do. Yeah. In terms of the FA Cup, if you did beat Gillingham on the weekend, and I'll ask the same sort of question to myself, who would you want in the next round of fixtures? Obviously, with the big teams, I'll sort of highlight our sort of Arsenal, Manchester United, likes of Manchester City, Crystal Palace, Chelsea. Those sort of teams are probably the big ones, I'd say.
It's a tough one, because I actually like going to smaller sides over kind of bigger sides, because I think with the bigger sides, for us, of course, we were only in the Premier League last season, so it's not like a treat to play them as such. I mean, it's always a treat to play the best teams in the world, so maybe I wouldn't mind playing Manchester City or something, or Liverpool. Manchester City or Liverpool, I wouldn't mind.
Liverpool aren't in it.
Oh yeah, of course they went out, didn't they?
Wolverhampton Wanderers beat them.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, like Man City, I wouldn't mind playing, but other than that, probably thinking about like Brentford maybe would be an interesting one. If Barnet get through either one of those, I always love Crystal Palace, playing Crystal Palace, so that'd be an interesting one to play. I mean, there's no kind of teams local to where I am in Cornwall, so that's a bit that's a bit annoying. But yeah, just I don't mind, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just looking up now FA Cup teams sort of left on a map, because I'd like to personally see which ones are closest to me, which ones are gonna make it like realistic for me to sort of try and travel to. But in terms of the big teams, I feel like you could go for those traditional. Yeah, I want United. I feel like West Bromwich Albion is the only one that stands out as a game that I could go to. However, I can't see us winning at West Brom, the Hawthorns, but somewhere a little smaller but still big, for example, somewhere like the Liberty, I feel that's a more realistic. Like when it's such a big, intimidating stadium, don't do too well. I know we beat Watford before in the Cup, but sort of any team that's going to be bigger than that, don't think we're going to have sort of the greatest chance in the world, to be honest. Yeah, we shall see about that one. I think to sort of almost to wrap up, or the last couple of things that we talk about anyway, Sam, who do you think, what do you think the score is? And then also, what do you think like the best potential outcome is for Swansea? And then I'll give what I think mine is for Gillingham.
So I don't know too much about the Gillingham squad. I know a lot about Tommy Eaves and how he's a really big striker. I think we can kind of subdue Tommy Eaves if he's playing with Van der Horn, etc. You did mention List as a really tricky player. I think it might be a bit hard for us to kind of keep him out of the game, so he could be a bit of a threat. But I still think if we have a few kind of top players in our squad, I think we'll have enough to see Gillingham off. Obviously, if we're playing a young squad, there could be that kind of inexperience and a bit of scaredness of not wanting to go out to a lower league team. So that's always a potential. And for that reason, I think it will be a kind of a narrow victory, and I think it'll be 1-0 to Swansea. As for the best outcome, I think the best outcome would obviously be a win. But other than that, no injuries, please. I don't want any injuries at all. You know, that would be a terrible situation. And then actually thinking about it, a good outcome would be maybe getting Newport if Newport go through against Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I feel like for you anyway, that is one of the things that gives me hope. Like you've got lots of injuries at the moment. In the where you are in the league has got a lot of potential to do very well, so you might be slightly focused towards that rather than in the cup. But I don't want to be too bold and just say like an unrealistic prediction, but like I can see Gillingham winning it. It happened with the Cardiff game as well. I could see us winning it. When I've been to games such as like Tottenham away in the past, no way can I see us winning it, and we got absolutely thrashed. But I can see Gillingham getting some sort of result. I feel like, I guess technically best case scenario again would be a win. If we do win, do I think we're going to be scoring many? Probably not. Be 2 at the max. I can see a 2-1 happening, possibly a 2-0, if not a 1-0. I feel like I'll make my prediction on the game. I'll put it on the commentary box Twitter, so you can check that out and see what sort of prediction I give. But in terms of scenario and what would be best, it'd be great. I feel like the best chance of us winning would be at home, but I feel like Swansea would play a stronger side in the second round replay. So, the fourth round replay. So best result obviously would be a win on the night. Worst case scenario, we lose, but we'll be out of the cup. It's not too bad. It'd be fine. And then if we did get someone in the next round, for me personally, where I am right now, West Brom away would be the ideal one for me to go to. In terms of us progressing, I'd like someone at home, maybe someone. who's going to be good but not amazing. It'd be nice to get maybe like a half decent Premier League side, someone like Everton at home. That might be a nice game. But I don't really want someone like Arsenal or Manchester United, really, just because I'm trying to think tactically about how far we could get in the cup. But yeah, we shall see.
Exactly. And of course, you are going to the game, luckily for you. So, of course, enjoy it. The Liberty's a very nice stadium. The atmosphere is great. The weather's normally not great, but you'll love the stadium, love the atmosphere. Swansea fans, of course, we always make a noise. So it should be an enjoyable match.
Yeah, it should be good. And I don't even know why I didn't even mention that, of course, going to the game. Grandparents have been kind enough to drop me home on the way back when they come up and visit me. So it'd be good to get a lift there at least, because it's a big journey nonetheless. But I'm looking forward to it. I also worked out the other day, Sam, that it was my 21st football ground that I would have been to. I'm interested to hear yours. Maybe you can find that and let me know for the next time we do our podcast. But yeah, good to add it to the list. Very much look forward to it.
Yeah, I shall work that out after this, and I'll tweet it out. Actually, it should be an interesting fact. And then of course I'll tell you on the video next time. But yes, that actually reminds me, before we go, I'd just like to say that we will be doing a review of the match, because of course you've been there, and of course I've been looking at the stats and watching highlights, so we can both report back about the match. And of course you will be also doing, I think, a match report, which is probably a bit more kind of at the game kind of feel and kind of review of the game, kind of not just an overview. So look out for those two videos. And of course we have the podcast coming out today, hopefully, as well, when this is coming out. So look out for that. And of course, I hope you've enjoyed today.
Yep, been very, very enjoyable.
So yeah, it's a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you'd like to get involved with us online, you can do so on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat. We do lots of polls and posts on there. That is all under Box Commentary. And then secondly, if you'd like to listen to our podcasts on different websites and devices, you can do so on iTunes, Spreaker and YouTube. All of those are under the Commentary Box. And then lastly, personally get involved with us by email to ask any questions or queries. You can do under the email of the commentarybox.contact@gmail.com.